Welcome to this explainer. Look, today we're diving straight into something that literally every single one of us struggles with, our own minds. If you've ever felt completely overwhelmed by your thoughts and just kind of wondered, hey, is there a systematic, actual proven way to find some peace? Well, you're in exactly the right place. Our goal today is to totally demystify ancient meditation practices. We're going to uncover the hard science behind them, so we're not looking at meditation as some sort of unapproachable, mystical magic. No, we're treating it as a deeply structured, analytical method for mastering your internal universe.
Okay, let's dive into this. The figure we're discussing is Swami Vivekananda. He was this absolute monumental thinker from the 19th century who basically brought the ancient Indian philosophy of Vedanta to the Western world. But here's the really cool part. He didn't present it as just simple dogma or some kind of blind faith. Actually, he approached it with the rigorous analytical mindset of a scientist. For Vivekananda, the mind is literally a laboratory. You aren't supposed to just blindly believe what he says. You're meant to test it, experiment with it, experience the results for yourself.
So to get there, we are following a really structured problem-solution roadmap. We'll start with the restless monkey mind, then look at the mind-lake metaphor, go over some practical steps for meditation, explore the philosophy of Vedanta, talk about escaping the snare of Maya, and finally, hit our ultimate goal, freedom.
All right, let's kick things off. Section 1. The Restless Monkey Mind. Understanding our chaos.
Have you ever felt like your mind is just running in a million different directions, kind of pulling you into a spiral of anxiety on a daily basis? You know, you are definitely not alone. It brings up this universally relatable question. Why is it so incredibly hard to control the human mind? Like, why can't we just sit down, close our eyes, and command our brains to just be quiet?
Well, Vivekananda offers this brilliantly vivid analogy to explain exactly what's happening inside our heads. He says, okay, imagine a monkey. Now, monkeys are by their very nature already incredibly restless, right? But it doesn't stop there. Imagine someone makes this naturally hyperactive monkey drink wine freely. Now it's completely drunk on the wine of desire, making it totally turbulent. And then, as if that wasn't enough, the monkey gets stung by a scorpion, which represents our jealousy at the success of others. And finally, to top off the whole shebang, a demon of pride enters the monkey, making it think it's the absolute most important thing in the universe. I mean, wow. This is our mind, naturally restless, drunk on desire, stung by jealousy, and completely possessed by pride. So yeah, no wonder it's so hard to sit still.
Moving right along to Section 2. The Mind-Lake Metaphor. Visualizing the mechanics.
What's really interesting here is how this translates some pretty abstract philosophy into a crystal clear visual mechanism. In the yoga tradition, the mind itself is called the chitta, and we can think of it just like a lake. The thoughts, all those distractions, the anxieties we feel, these are called the vrittis. Basically, they're the waves or ripples that are constantly disturbing the surface of our lake.
The logic behind this is just beautifully simple. Think about it. When you toss stones of external stimuli into a lake, it creates this muddy, agitated surface. And because the surface is constantly rippling, you absolutely cannot see the bottom. But what is at the bottom? According to Vivekananda, the bottom of the lake is your true self, the divine. Meditation is simply the scientific tool we use to stop throwing those stones. It's the process of calming the vrittis so the water becomes perfectly clear and serene, allowing us to finally actually see the true self resting down at the bottom.
Okay, let's look at Section 3. Practical steps for meditation. The actual how-to.
Now, understanding the theory is great, but how do we actually calm those waves in real life? Remember when I said this was a rigorous science? Well, every science requires proper laboratory conditions. Vivekananda emphasizes that our physical environment deeply affects our mind. You want to practice during the natural calmness of the early morning or the evening. You should ensure physical cleanliness by taking a bath first. Keep your practice space totally dedicated to meditation. Make it a holy space with flowers or incense so that simply walking into that room starts to calm you down. And interestingly enough, he suggests never eating until you've practiced. The idea is to let the sheer force of hunger break your natural laziness.
Let's move to and see how this builds, because once you're set up in your laboratory, the real mental work begins in 3 distinct stages. First up is dharana. This is where you try to concentrate your mind upon a single object. At first, your monkey mind is going to wander wildly, but with patience, you reach stage 2, dhyana. This is actual meditation, where the mind grows incredibly strong and wavers a lot less. Finally, the absolute pinnacle is samadhi. Complete absorption. The differentiation between you and the object just totally vanishes. Your consciousness expands, and you experience this perfect, profound rest.
Which brings us to Section 4,
the philosophy of Vedanta, exploring the why.
So, why do we put ourselves through all this strict discipline? What's the ultimate purpose here? It's really crucial to clarify what Vedanta actually teaches. Sometimes people think ancient spirituality means you just have to hate the world, starve yourself, and, run away to live in a cave. But Vivekananda explicitly says that is not the case at all. Vedanta means the deification of the world. It doesn't mean some dry, depressing rejection of your life. Instead, it means completely transforming how you view your everyday reality. You give up the world as it superficially appears, all the petty struggles and ego, and instead you actively train yourself to see God in absolutely everything and everyone.
And the true beauty of this system is how perfectly it adapts to different human temperaments. Take a look at how two totally different practitioners might approach this. First, you have the Jnani. They follow the path of knowledge and intellect, so they might reject the body entirely as an illusion in order to aggressively rise above it. But then you have the Bhakta. They follow the path of love and devotion, so they view the body as this incredibly precious, sacred boat given by the Lord to safely cross the ocean of life. Both paths are completely valid. Both use meditation, but they adapt to what works best for that specific person's mind. It's really quite brilliant.
All right, Section 5. Escaping the snare of Maya, the illusion of time.
See, whether you're a Jnani or a Bhakta, you're up against Maya. That's the grand illusion that tricks our consciousness and makes us believe the temporary is actually eternal. To explain just how insanely powerful Maya is, Vivekananda tells this fascinating story. The great sage Narada asks his master Krishna to let him see this illusion. Krishna says, "Sure, just go fetch me a glass of water from that nearby village." So Narada goes. A beautiful woman answers the door, and at minute 0 he completely forgets about the water. Over the next 11 years, he falls deeply in love, marries her, has children, and builds a whole life. Then, in year 12, absolute tragedy strikes. A massive flood hits the village. The raging current sweeps his children and his wife away. Thrown onto the riverbank, weeping in total agony, Narada suddenly hears Krishna's gentle voice right behind him. "Where is the water? You've been gone for half an hour." Just think about that. 12 whole years of love, family, and unbearable tragedy, all of it happened in his mind in exactly 30 minutes. That is the unbelievable, frankly terrifying power of Maya, and it's exactly what we are all trapped in right now without even realizing it.
Finally, Section 6, the ultimate goal, freedom.
So why do we do all this? Why do we sit in quiet rooms, fighting our monkey minds, striving to see the bottom of the lake, and battling the heavy illusions of Maya? Well, true freedom doesn't come from building bigger temples, or reading 1,000 books, or frantically searching the outside world for happiness. The living God, the ultimate truth we're all looking for, is already lodged right there within you, at the bottom of your own mind lake. Vivekananda says that the moment we stop pointing fingers, the moment we take absolute total responsibility for our own minds and can stand in true reverence to see the divine in every single human being, that is the exact moment all our earthly bonds vanish. That is when we achieve absolute freedom.
Which leaves us with this final provocative thought. You have the laboratory of your mind. You know the chaotic nature of the monkey, and you now know the scientific steps required to calm the lake. The infinite library of the universe is quite literally already inside you, just waiting to be discovered. So the only question left is, are you ready to do the work? As Swami Vivekananda so famously urged, arise, awake, stop not till the goal is reached. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. I really hope this profoundly shifts how you view your own mind.